Hi, it's Hope from Under the Median. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about bits and pieces. So when you're working on a really tight grocery budget, sometimes you might get to the end of the week, or like me, toward the end of the month, and you open your refrigerator door and realize, gee, there's really not a whole lot left in there. So that's what happened to me this week. I opened the refrigerator door, I had a piece of onion about that round and about that thick, literally one piece of onion. I had 2 banana peppers, and I had about 1.5 yellow summer squash.
It was pretty much a barren wasteland.
It was a barren wasteland. So says the sous chef. And he's right, it was a barren wasteland. So the only other thing that we really had on hand were a lot of tomatoes that people had shared with us from their garden. So I looked at all of that and thought, what can I make that will be a great main dish that will get us through a couple of meals using only what I have on hand? So I decided to use the tomatoes, cook them down with some spices, and then stick them in the blender and make a homemade marinara sauce. Then I cut up the summer squash, the onion, the peppers, and I put them in a pan and sauteed them with just a little bit of Bragg's aminos, just a sprinkling. I never ever use oil when I saute. You can saute very effectively just with a little bit of water, so you're not adding extra calories from the oil. Then I added some spices. This is one of my favorites. This is Kirkland. It's organic, no salt seasoning. You do not have to be a Costco member to purchase this. I'm not a Costco member, and you can order it on Amazon. It's got a lot of really interesting different spices in it, and it's got some ground up black pepper in there, so it's got a little bit of a kick to it, which I like. So I put a little bit of those seasonings as well as some onion powder and some garlic powder, and just sauteed it, cooked it down a little bit. Then I also had available some brown rice, plain brown rice that I cooked earlier in the week, and I had that sitting in the refrigerator, about 6 cups of it sitting in a Tupperware container in the refrigerator. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to assemble this, making it into a main dish. So one of the things you need to think about are you need to think about what flavors go together, and then you need to think about layering things if you're going to make it into a casserole so that you're tasting different tastes and different textures in the different layers, and it's not all one kind of conglomerate mess, which doesn't make it really that attractive, and it doesn't make it really that fun to eat. So I'm going to put a little bit of the homemade marinara sauce on the bottom of the casserole dish. Layer, layer, layer. Then add some of the brown rice on top of that, and you can kind of immediately can go, oh, I see where she's going with this. And then some of the squash, so you're creating those different flavors in different layers. And I used about half of it per layer because I want to get at least 2 or 3 layers here. Now, if you're not vegan, which I am, but if you're not vegan, little bit of mozzarella cheese in between these layers would probably be really good. All right, then we're going to layer once again another 1/3 of the marinara sauce, and stuck lid, and some more of the rice. And I'm going to leave just enough rice and marinara sauce to go on top for one last layer. And then we'll layer the other half of the summer squash. Nothing is, I cook by feel a lot, so I can tell you what I put in everything, but I'm sorry, nothing is measured. So use a little bit of discretion as to how you put the seasoning in, and taste as you go. All right, there's that. And then a little more of this. And I think if I did this right, we're going to have just enough of the marinara sauce and the rice to do one more layer on top, and we will be finished. And I'll see if I can tilt it here in just a minute. I'm going to stick this in the toaster oven. Toaster ovens are great. I have a pretty good sized toaster oven, so this dish will actually fit in there, and I won't be turning on the oven and adding heat to the house when it's already
there's the toaster oven.
Still kind of warm outside. Okay, so I'm going to use my hand, which is clean, to kind of pat everything down, and then layer the last of the marinara sauce on top. If you have a little, I did put basil and some Italian seasoning in the marinara sauce, but you might want to sprinkle attractively. I have dried chives, so I think some dried chives would look kind of nice on top of everything.
Some nutritional yeast will also be nice.
A little bit of nutritional yeast, he's right. Daniel is not only my photographer for my blog, he's also my sous chef. So he's really good at figuring out flavors, combinations that are that are good. Okay, and I think that will do us. You can sprinkle a little something on top to make it pretty, and let's see, can they see that?
Yep.
Okay, and that completely filled this container, and this will probably last us 2 meals. Now, here is an additional tip. Sorry, I stood up, you probably can't see me. Here is an additional tip. If I have some of this left over and it's not enough for supper the next night, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a package of 10 white flour tortillas that I bought for $1 at Aldi's. And I have a little bit of homemade hummus that I made. I'm going to slather a little bit of that hummus on each of the tortillas, and then I'm going to put what's left of this, I'm going to divide it between how many tortillas I need. So if I have 6 people at home that night, I'm going to make at least 1 roll up per person. So I'm going to do 6 tortillas with a little bit of hummus, this rolled up in it. And for those who aren't vegan, I'm going to put a little bit of cheese in there, stick them in the toaster oven for 10 minutes and bake them for 10 minutes, and they're going to get nice and crispy on the outside. They're going to be warm and gooey on the inside. You can easily serve that roll up with a side vegetable and also a side salad and make yourself another meal for the next night. If there's not quite enough of this left over, to do this for the main dish the next night. All right, that's it for Bits and Pieces today, and I'm Hope from Under the Median.